Hello students, how are you? Hope all of you are fine. Students, today we will discuss third lecture of third module, dynamism in group behavior. Today we will discuss what is the issues of group decision making. Title is Group Decision Making. There are so many issues to be discussed under this particular segment that what would be the role of every individual in group decision making. Friends, decision making is not the job of one particular person, it is the job of different people from different functional area, those who are actively involved in this particular decision making process. I am not going into depth of theory of decision making, but of course I will discuss what are the basic role of individual in group decision making. What are the advantages of group decision making? What are the precautions to be taken in group decision making? All these things to be discussed under this particular segment. Starting our theoretical interpretation of group decision making, agenda, factor affecting decision making, group decision making, advantage, disadvantage, process of group decision making, techniques to improve group decision making. Of course, I will give you some of reference. What is very interesting to this particular lecture, what way you can improve, techniques, tools, methods, all these things are the important part to this particular lecture. Now, group decision making, what exactly it is? Of course, we need to see some of theoretical component of group decision making, what exactly defined by some specific authors. Group decision making is the process by which individuals collectively make a choice from alternatives often involved in decision, discussion, negotiation, consensus building. There are three different things as prescribed by Keir and Tyndall 2004. Group decision making is a collaborative cognitive process where information sharing among members affect the quality and nature of decision, and that is Stasser and Titus 1985. See, it is a sharing some important aspect or choosing some alternatives, contribution by different decision maker. That is the part of that particular lecture. What is the cognitive skill in particular decision making process? What is the individual behavior in particular decision making process? Collectively, what way we share the information? What mechanism? All these things under the part of the group decision making. Now see, factors affecting group made decisions. What are the various factors which affect on group decision making? Group size is very important things. Suppose in particular group size is larger. That means what is the problem? That is the diverse perspective, and you may face several challenges if the group size is large. And I think that people involved in decision making process, not only line manager, some cases staff people, different other department people also involved. So size is large, opinion is diverse. Then what way we can reach the consensus? This is one of the problem. Then group composition is very important things. What kind of people are to be incorporated in the group? Mix of skills, experience and personalities influence the quality of decision making. What is the group composition? Skill, experience and personalities. And whether the skilled people are involved whether good personalities are involved, whether some experienced people are involved, good personalities people are involved. All this thing has the great issue, because decision making is not the particular task, whereas similar type of people are there. Heterogeneous group of people are there basically. Unanimity of group consensus, that is also one of the important concern. Unanimity, how we can reach the level of agreement among members affects the speed and strength of decisions. I think agreement is very common in any decision making process. And I think whether it is some political institution or some kind of business institution or some other institution, basically everywhere, getting consensus is the big concern. Now, the risky shift, what is it exactly? Basically, fourth number, factors. Groups may make riskier decisions than individual due to shared responsibility and peer influence. What is exactly it means basically? Normally the group, when they just take some decision choosing some alternatives, that may be risky. Obviously there is greater chances the outcome, I think choosing alternatives, or what I said, that the best alternatives, whatever you are selecting, that may be risky. And I think that if the concerning decision that is very risky, that needs different other concern, basically different other issues, whereas decision alternatives to be implemented. So risky shift is also very important part. Now see, what is very important part we need to discuss here, that advantages of group decision making. I think normally decision making is group based. Sometimes some authority also make decisions, but there is two different thoughts basically. Suppose one particular authority make decisions, they may not cover the entire group of people, that may not represent the entire group of, clustered. So that particular cases, advantages or making decisions on the basis of group is more beneficial. Diverse knowledge and skills, higher quality of decisions, greater acceptance and commitment, enhanced creativity and innovation, reduce individual bias, better understanding of problem. Now see, these are all some of advantages basically. It's very simple, but one thing is more important, students, reducing biasness, or you can say that is making decisions in the interest of the organization, keeping in mind different affected peoples to whom this particular alternatives to be applied. So that is also a big concern. I think if any particular decision making process, diverse knowledge skills people are there, then definitely it's a good symptoms. But what is very basic problem, that is the consensus, because qualityful people, they may have the different opinion, they have the different knowledge and skills. Now see, creativity, innovation is possible, greater acceptance, commitment, all these things are basic advantages of group decision making. Now some important clarifications already I have narrated, but some point I need to clarify. Greater acceptance and commitment. Say, I am just giving some example. In particular organizations, we are making particular decisions, like as it is concerned with dispute with regard to salary agreement. So that particular cases, we have the different group of people, some people from employees or trade union people, some people maybe from government, some people from managerial cluster of particular organization. So that cases, what's the basic understanding, what will receive that will be very fantastic, that because of this particular committee, this particular decision making concern having the different group of people. I think majority of the problem in organization, there is IR related problem, industrial relation related problem. So if you are not considering all of people, those who are involved in the IR mechanism in particular country, particular domain, and I am sure that it decision may not be perfect. So that cases, larger acceptance is possible. Now, high quality decision, what is it exactly? I think that is the below perfect decision. I think one particular group may take decisions, its output may be different, other group of people they may take decision, their output may be different. But what is the quality? This is very important. I think its assessment is possible after implementation of particular alternatives. That means you can understand the impact of that particular decision. So quality decision is possible normally if we have the sufficient number of people in particular decision making mechanism. Now see, we need to discuss disadvantages of group decision making. It's not freed from any kind of disadvantages, like as risk of group think. It's very risky basically. You know, sometimes there is the problem of consensus. I am telling you, diverse group of knowledge and skill people are there, may not have the proper consensus. So that is also one of the high time consuming process, obviously. Dominance by new members, dominance by a few members. I think that all of people, those who are in decision making process, all are not active, but few people are dominant. There is the fear that some vested interest group of people, they may dominate in the decision making process. Conflicts and disagreements is very common in, I have seen that majority of group decision process, there is conflict, different people are having the different types of opinion. There is the, issues of the disagreements. Ambiguous responsibility, because it is group, fixing responsibility to individual is very difficult. It is also one of the major concern. Who is responsible? Then pressure to conform, that is also the very important thing. There is huge pressure, you know, just adopt these particular alternatives, follow these particular alternatives, give your consent to these particular alternatives. So I think disadvantages is also big. Now it's not like that, you know, making decision through group is good, democratic style of decision making, not like that. Pluralism, pluralist concept of decision making, not like that. But there is also some kind of problems. Now see, its clarification are there basically. You can see ambiguous responsibility as I narrated earlier. Group thing, time consuming process, it's not easy thing to do all kind of what I said that the decision within specific period of time. It needs huge time in some cases. Now see, process of group decision making, there are simple process, perhaps undergraduate people somewhere you have studied, PG people of course you may study it somewhere, but it's not so easy I am telling you. Diagnosing the problem, exactly what's your problem, making decisions. It's not the research activity, students, it's the understanding the problem. Like as you have the problem of transportation, then what is the need of decision making process? You can follow the proper programming of transportation. Suppose in banks there is the problem of queuing theory, good number of customers are there, whereas 3 to 4 frontline people are there. They are not handling all kind of customers. There is huge problem in the queue. So there is some kind of programming techniques are there, so-called linear programming techniques. That problem can be solved. Suppose you have the problem of profit maximization, minimization. That particular cases also you can use the some programming techniques. But where decision is required, some cases situation is not organic, situation is inorganic, and it's not easily understand what is going on exactly, what is going on. So that particular cases is one of the important part, that understand the problem, diagnose the problem, understanding the internal strength of the organization and also scanning the environment, diagnose the problem. Developing alternatives, that is the main important part. I think nowadays we have different programming techniques. This way also you can resolve some kind of problem. Again, I am telling you, it's not a research activity. Developing alternatives is very, how many alternatives? 3 to 4 alternatives, 5 to 6 alternatives. Evaluating alternatives, what are the strategies are there basically to evaluate the alternatives? Suppose you want to apply the green practices in your organizations, then you need to make plan basically, what way we need to implement it and what kind of decisions are there basically. So, evaluating alternatives is also one of the great concern. Implementing the decision, it's very unique part, I am telling you, seems very easy, but implementation is the bigger context. I think majority of the already failed that because of we don't have any proper implementation practices, proper implementation mechanism. As a result, our alternatives not giving you the proper results, proper outcome. Monitoring and feedback, do you have the proper mechanism to understand what are the feedback mechanism, what way you can get the feedback from other group of people? Have you developed this kind of practice in your organizations or not? This is very important. I think simple, but this is the most toughest job I am telling you. Monitoring and feedback, controlling mechanism, choosing alternatives. Now, these are all very important part. You need to clarify all this part very seriously. In diagnosing the problem, we basically see in clear statement, clearly state what the problem is. Make sure anyone in the group understand it in the same way. Look at data, feedback, observation to find many cause. A clear problem is easier to solve. Then what kind of internal data, what kind of observations you have basically, these are all the equal point. Developing alternatives is be open to all ideas, even unusual problems, unusual ones. Don't criticize or judge ideas yet. The goal is to gather lots of opinions before picking the best one. So, developing alternatives is also one of the great concern. Then third part, evaluating alternatives. I think that's very important part, like as critically analyze each alternative based on feasibility. That means the alternatives you are selecting, you are considering basically what is the feasibility of application of this kind of alternatives. This is also one of the major consideration. Cost and resource is very important, cost and benefits, risks and benefits, impact on groups, organizational goals. Different techniques are there you can use for that purpose, SWOT analysis, decision matrix, cost benefit analysis. Step 4, selecting, implementing the decision, choose the most suitable alternatives, develop an action plan with timeliness and roles, ensure proper communication and resource allocation, execute the decision collaboratively, monitoring and feedback, track outcomes after implementation, collect feedback from stakeholders, analyze performance metrics, make necessary adjustment and improvements. See, this particular cases, fifth number steps, we have identified some kind of metrics. That is, the metrics is nothing, that is some kind of standard, some kind of benchmark, and it is changeable at several point of time, and it has to be maintained. Standard has to be fixed through which you can measure something. Every cases, every decision making, there may be some kind of matrix. So, this is the basically. Now, important consideration is that techniques to improve group decision making. There are so many techniques are there basically, some common techniques, Hartnett's CODM model, step ladder techniques, Bain's rapid framework, Delphi methods, brainstorming, and the charity procedure, nominal group techniques, NGT, these are all the techniques. Clear demarcation, clear analysis will be there. Now see what exactly Hartnett's CODM model, and I think techniques to improve group decision making, its outcome is concerned. It is the basically consumer oriented decision making CODM model is structured approach that aims to reach decisions through which inclusive dialogue where group members collaboratively explore all viewpoints without forcing anyone to go along if they disagree. This is one of the consensus oriented decision making. Develop the consensus among different groups of people. Convince the people, those are the member of the particular group decision making process. This is very important. Now, I think this is some of techniques basically normally people are using. Then step ladder techniques is very important part. Step ladder techniques encourage equal participation by adding one member at a time to the group discussion. This helps to minimize group things and allows each individual to present their ideas before being influenced by others. Now see what exactly that means basically. I think step ladder technique says equal participation, practically it does not happen. And I think that if any group decision making process, 10, 12 members, 15, 20 members in large scale group decision making process, 1 or 2 members will be active and they are very influential. So sometimes what happens that because of influence of 3 to 4 people, other people they are not in position basically to stand their views in this particular decision making process, but try to get the equal participation from different group of people. This is very important. I think again there is the problem of group leader. That particular group decision making process, there will be some leader. That particular leader, what way he just take agreements from different group of people. Bain's rapid framework, it is clearly decision making rules by assigning specific responsibility. Recommend, agree, performs, input, decide. The model encourage accountability and avoid confusion in group decision. Now see, this is also one of the great concern. If you want to engage the each and every people in the group, assign the responsibility to each and every members. Identify the total tasks of decision making in different area and give some responsibility to the particular people. So ultimately what happened basically, you will see that all of peoples are engaged and they are effectively giving some kind of good contribution and which may be useful for taking right decision. Delphi method is very important things. The Delphi method use multiple rounds of anonymous expert opinion, gathering insight, rethinking views to achieve consensus, making it suitable for forecasting and problem solving. It's very important part basically Delphi method. Several rounds of expert opinions, gathering insights and achieve consensus. I think that there may be the different group of experts are there basically, those who contribute a lot basically for making some kind of group consensus. So these are all basically the 5 different models. Now see, suppose you are in particular organizations, you are the line manager, now you decide basically which methods you are supposed to follow. There is the Hartnett model, step ladder model, Bain's rapid framework or Delphi method. Now see, some other techniques also are there which is also much dominant nowadays. Brainstorming, what exactly? Storm the brain. Now see, encourage the thinking process. There is so called deep thinking. Identify the different group of people. Sit one particular place, storm the problem. It is also one of the good practice of making some useful decisions. Now, one more carrot procedure is also one of the main techniques of what I said, that the group decision making. Large group is split into smaller group. I think this is not bad. Group can be splitted, group can be divided into different parts. Now, what's the issue basically? If you divide the entire groups into different parts, not in the different group of people, not independently, you just decide some kind of subgroups, assign some kind of responsibility. It's not bad. Carrot procedure is also one of the techniques which is given by Dilbach et al. 1975. Nominal group technique, NGT, is also one of the very important techniques. Nominal group techniques involves individual gathering ideas silently which are then discussed and ranked by group. Now see, it's also important part of any kind of decision making, give the issues to different people silently, they just think over it. Collectively take some presentation, then definitely different people may have the different silently, independently. So these are all that some of useful techniques. Now different methods are there, advantages, disadvantages are there. Now issue is that how do you respond this kind of things? Students try to catch all kind of things, because nowadays making decisions basically in the complex environment is most tough. It's not so easy. Here one of the basic problem that what would be the dynamism in the group, what kind of dynamism in the group. Unless you understand this particular part, you may not be clear exactly. So this, for that purpose, we are supposed to clarify all these things. What are the steps or process? Whatever process enrolled here is not final. One can decide, one can identify more robust technique also. Some database decision making process also. What are the key factors affecting group decision making? All these things are narrated properly. What are the key factors are involved basically, Now see, what my opinion basically, who are the people, those who are involved in decision making process? How you select that group of people? This is very interesting part. On the basis of their hierarchy, on the basis of their job position, in what context, in what base you decide that group of people. If you are not identifying that group of people on the basis of some process, robust mechanism, and I am sure that you may not make decisions excellently. How does the step ladder techniques help minimize groupthink and encourage equal participation in decision making? How does the step ladder techniques help minimize groupthink and encourage equal participation in decision making? This is also one of the techniques already I narrated. How do you ensure that equal participation? Do you believe that every employee normally I am talking that all are equally engaged? It's not possible at all. You don't expect that every people in the decision making process all will be equally participate, but one has to try basically assigning some kind of responsibility to individual, then definitely perhaps it is possible little bit. And in what ways does brainstorming promote creative idea generation in group settings? It's very interesting part basically, what is the role of brainstorming, what way one can make the right decisions. Some of reference I have prescribed basically for UG, PG people, also some researchers. Like as UG, PG people may study basically what it is exactly. PG people may study basically, how it is effect on organization behavior and how that can improve the organizational efficiency. But researcher can see that how group decision behavior actively organized in particular organization. What are the things are more critical? Adoption of group decision making process. What is the outcome? So I think that what I said that the use of this paper, understanding particular segment, you need to see the three different way that in UG people you just try to understand exactly what the sense of group decision making, and PG people of course in-depth study is required, but researcher need to see, because this is also one of the critical context of any organization. What will be the group behavior in particular group decision process? So I think if you see the different books and articles, that will help you basically in decision making process. So dear students, we have discussed a lot of things under this particular segment, group decision behavior. Hope all of you have enjoyed excellently by understanding the different core issues of group decision making mechanism. Thank you very much.